Imagine that your best friend has just bought a new shirt and asks you what you think of it. Deep down, you think the shirt is really ugly, but you're afraid your friend will be upset if you say so. Are you telling the truth or are you lying? What is right and what is wrong? In discussions about what is right or wrong, good and less good actions, people often refer to the concepts of ethics and morality. Ethics is originally a Greek word that can be translated as way of life. The word morality comes from Latin and means exactly the same thing. However, a common perception is that morality is about our actions and our opinions about right and wrong. For example, that it is wrong to lie. Ethics is about how we think and reason about morality and give arguments for our morality. Why it is wrong to lie. Dilemma. Sometimes we must make difficult moral choices. When we find ourselves in a choice situation where neither of the choices you have feels completely right or both feel wrong. For example, you are on your way home to help with dinner, but your friend is sad and really wants you to stay at school for a while longer. Talking on the phone is not enough, and your friend cannot come home with you. At home, your father really needs help because your little sister is sick. Your friend is crying and your family is waiting for you. Whatever you choose to do, it will not be good. You have found yourself in a dilemma. The word dilemma simply means a difficult choice situation. Ethical models. One way to get help with moral dilemmas is to use different ethical models. Ethical models can be seen as thoughts about what determines what is right or wrong, good or evil. Below are 3 ethical models that give different answers to which actions are right. Consequential ethics. Some people believe that the important thing about an action is that it has the best possible result, consequence. Those who reason follows consequential ethics. If the result is good, the action is also good, according to consequential ethics. If you are going to follow consequential ethics, you must first and foremost assess what your actions can lead to. You then compare different alternatives, evaluate them, and choose the alternative that you think will have the best effect. For many, consequentialist ethics certainly sounds appealing. It is clear that we want our actions to lead to something good, but consequentialist ethics also has problems to deal with. An obvious problem is that it is difficult to know in advance what consequences our choices will have. We cannot say anything with certainty about the future. Another challenge is to determine which time perspective applies. An action may have good consequences in the short term, but worse in the long term. It is also a challenge to determine for whom the consequences will be good, for us or for others. A consequentialist ethicist must therefore always consider the following questions. How do I know what consequences an action will have? For whom should the consequences be positive? Should the consequences be positive immediately or in the longer term? How are the different consequences weighed against each other? Ethics of the mind. According to ethics of the mind, it is the intention behind actions that is important. It is the thought that counts, says an ethicist of the mind. If you mean well, your action is good. For example, a bus driver who lets a person without a ticket ride is certainly breaking the rules, but if the passenger has lost his phone and money, it may be a good action to let someone ride freely. Then the bus driver is doing the right thing. Ethics of the mind also faces some problems. One problem is that it is difficult to find out people's real intentions. Maybe there is a hidden agenda. Imagine that someone invites their friends to coffee, but that the real goal is to gain other benefits later on. He or she may expect a favor in return. According to ethics of the mind, the invitation to coffee is therefore not a good action, but it may be perceived that way by those who are invited. A dispositional ethicist must consider the following questions. How do I know which motives are good? How do I know if the person performing the action really has a good motive and not just says that he or she does? A rule ethics. According to rule ethics, it is important to follow laws and rules. As long as you do so, you are acting right, while actions that violate a rule are always wrong. It is not only written rules and laws that are referred to, but also unwritten rules, norms. It may sound easy to be a rule ethicist. You just have to find out what the rules are and then stick to them. But the problem is that there is no rule book that applies in all situations. In a video game or in a football match, there are clear rules, but life is simply not such a game. It is impossible to set rules for every conceivable situation. Another problem is that different rules can conflict with each other. For example, there is an unwritten rule that says that we should not lie to our friends. But according to another unwritten rule, a white lie can be okay. Which of the rules should you apply if your friend asks you what you think of her new hairstyle, which you actually don't think is nice? A rule ethicist must always think about the following questions. Which rules apply in different situations? What should you do when two rules conflict with each other?